So happy Monday, everybody. I'm happy to have you guys here. Definitely want to respect your time, like I was saying, and not have you guys on longer than you have to be. Uh-oh, sorry, my phone. Um, so we want to definitely get you guys out of here, at a reasonable time. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this is our weekly industry update. For the week of May 3rd or 4th, actually. And I can't believe it, you guys. We are hitting almost the half year mark. So for how many of you is this year just flying by? Is it just me? Or is this year flying by?
No, it's flying by really fast.
Yes.
We would all agree on that.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you guys. Because I'm like, am I crazy or like did May just hit us like boom, right? So all right. But that just means like we have got to recalibrate ourselves and really focus because we've got to make our second half of our year really pop, right? We've really got to hit it hard. We've got to work hard. We've got to sow a lot of seeds so that we can have a great harvest in the summer. And going into our going back into like fall, right? And so it just seems like it's just happening so fast, but that means that we've got to operate in intention. And so that we are in control of this time and we don't look up 5 months from now saying, oh my God, I can't believe, this time has gone by and I didn't accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish. Right. So we've got to really get intentional about what it is we want to accomplish. We desire to accomplish over these next 7 months so that we can look up in November and just be really proud of what we've done and the amount of production we've had, right? Because things in this business, what's beautiful about this business is that you can change what's going on in your business over the next 90 days. Literally 3 months is what it takes. And you can change. But in order for something to change, you've got to change, right? You can't expect to do the same thing and expect a different result. That is the definition of insanity, right? So if you're doing something right now that's not working, that you've tried for some months now, I'm not saying to just blow your whole world up, but if you've been trying something in your business for months and it's not working, then it's time to maybe switch it up. Okay. So I really want you guys to get intentional about what it is you need to do in your business. But without further ado, let's go into our weekly market update starting with Los Angeles County. And so looking at Los Angeles County, for sale properties is up 9% over last week. I'm sorry, over last week. Hang on, why does that say Yeah, I'm sorry, over last month, not over last week, over last month. So 9% up over last month for sale properties. Okay, so inventory's gone up 9% from last month. And then as compared overall, it's up 37.1%. So we have more inventory on the market than we did last year to the tune of about 37%. Sold properties has gone down 58.1% over last month. Now, remember, we're comparing the first 4 days of the month, right? This is 5/1/5/4, 5/1 to 5/4 compared to 4/1 to 4/4. Okay, so it's just the first 4 days in the month. So that's why you see this big dip right here. Okay, all right. However, overall, look at that. We're 0.5% higher than we were last year. And that's this year-over-year comparison is a more accurate comparison, right? Or more accurate as it pertains to the market, simply because you are looking at January to now to May, right? May 5th, compared to last January to May 5th. So the sample size is much bigger. Okay. A month to date, year-over-year comparison is this middle section. I don't really focus on this too much because we are looking at last month and we were looking at last year. But looking at the first 4 days of May compared to the first 4 days of May last year, we are down 33.8%. Okay. Now, pendants are down 54.5% as compared to last month, first 4 days of the month, or first 5 days really of the month. And then zero change. So no change in pendants. All right, as compared to last year. Okay, so that's good. No, we're not down, right? We haven't increased, we haven't improved, but we're certainly not in the red just yet. So that's good, right? Although it shows a down arrow, and that's only because it actually has not gone up. Okay, so they don't have like a neutral arrow. Okay. All right, looking at new listings has gone down 46.4% as compared to last month, the first 5 days. And then, however, we are still going strong at 16.7% increase over last year. Okay, so we do have new listing inventory. And I think I showed you guys last week, we have new development going on. Now, most of that is in Riverside and San Bernardino County, the ones that I showed. However, we do have new listing inventory in LA County. I've seen some new developments in Carson, San Pedro, La Mirada, Whittier. So there are definitely in LA County, I see a lot of new development going on, but they're smaller developments, right? You're not seeing like the huge 4-phase developments going on. You're seeing like 6 units, 8 units. You're seeing like maybe 12 units, right? Like we had in Panorama City last year with Pavin. Pavin released, I think, 6 or 8 units, okay, of townhomes, or they were actually single family detached homes, but they look like townhomes. And so those are the types of developments we're seeing, but they are considered new developments, and we are up 16.7%. So average active price is down 3.7% as compared to last month. It is down 8.2% overall. So sellers are asking 8.2% lower than they did last year in LA County. However, they're receiving 8.6% higher than they did last year. Their average sold price is 8.6% higher than it was last year, 6% higher than it was last month. Okay. So although we're seeing sellers be more conservative in what they're asking, they're certainly making up for it, it appears, with what they're actually receiving. I do know that I was speaking with, who was that? Was it Eileen? Yeah, I think it was Eileen on Friday. And she was sharing with me how she's making offers right now in Bellflower, Norwalk, and there was one other city that she's making offers at, Downey, I believe. She said that she was up against 10 to 16 offers, depending on the property, but in multiple offer situations every single time. And her buyer, you guys, was offering $60K above asking price. Yeah. And they were being outbid. Okay. Now, her buyer is an FHA buyer, so they could be being outbid by conventional offers that aren't as high on the, asking price, but maybe more reliable and appears more reliable. But she did say her buyer's bringing in 5% versus just 3.5%. So bottom line is that there's competition out there, which is, although they're asking for less, they're receiving more. Okay. And remember, we're getting in our hot months where competition, more inventory goes on the market, but also more buyers come into the market. Okay. All right. Months of inventory is up 148.6% higher than it was last month. But remember, there are only 5 days in the month. So it is a 37% change over last year. So we were at 2.7 months of inventory. Now we're at 3.7 months of inventory. Okay. So in LA County, we are still inching our way up to that normal market threshold or neutral market threshold. All righty. Not there yet, but definitely inching up. And we'll have to keep an eye on this, because it should mean that multiple offer situation, if inventory continues to increase, it will start to improve. It should start to improve depending on where, right? Remember, we've got to be hyper local, because the reality is LA County is huge. So it doesn't mean that Bellflower and specifically this pocket of Bellflower is not going to still be a hot area if it's an in-demand area. And that particular area is still starved for inventory, right? So you got to be hyper local and look at that for your client, whether you're the buyer's agent or the listing agent. Either way, it impacts your client, right? Whether or not they need to be more aggressive in their offers, or whether as a seller, you need to price conservatively. Either way, you've got to be able to know what's going on in that specific area and be able to educate your client, whether it's a buyer or a seller. And I think that's what sometimes we miss. We go really high level, and that's not being the best for our client. That's not doing the best for our client. We really have to go hyper local. Average days on market. I feel like I just did that. No, average days on market is down 2.9% over last month. So we were at 34 days on market last month. We're at 33 days on market currently. However, it is increased 18.2% over last year. We're at 33 days on market last year. We're at 39 days on market currently. Okay. So we would expect that with more inventory, more days on market, right? Sold versus original list price is down 4.1%. We were at 98% of list price last month. We're at 94% of list price currently. So again, just the first 5 days. So I don't think that's, I think we'll see that improve. Overall, no change. Sellers were receiving 98% of list price last month. Sellers are receiving 98% of list price currently. Okay. So sellers are happy in LA County. Most of them are receiving close to 100% of list price for their properties. So of course they're happy, right? And we have a big impact on that. I say this all the time. So we can help our sellers to get more for their properties. If we price it right, we can make sure that we get that multiple offer situation for our clients, and then bring that property up for them, get 100%, 101%, right, for their property. And we just have to convince the seller to follow our advice and make sure that we have done our due diligence so we know what we're talking about. All right, Orange County, the OC, for sale properties is up 15.8% as compared to last month for only the first 5 days. Remember, we're only comparing 4/1 to 4/4 of last month to 5/1 to 5/4 of this month. Okay, so it's just the first 5 days. Overall, for sale properties in Orange County has gone up 62.7%. You guys, that is huge. And we needed it. Okay, we needed every bit of that. All right, sold properties is down 59.5% as compared to last month, and down 1.3% as compared to last year. So not a big, shortage, or not a big downturn. However, it is something to watch, right? Because we're expecting sales to go up in all the counties. We're expecting sales to go up this year. So seeing that it's down 1.3%, that is trending. We've got to keep an eye on that. Hopefully we're going to make a rebound here in the spring, summer months. All right, pendants are down 46.2% as compared to last month, and down 3.2% as compared to last year. Now, tell me this, you guys, first 5 days of the month, do you expect pendants to potentially be down? What's your thoughts on that? Anybody got thoughts on that? Pendants being down the first 5 days of the month? Who is that? Oscar? You have any thoughts on that?
Nope. I really wouldn't know why the first 5 days in May would be different.
No, and yeah, absolutely. But typically the first 5 days of the month, or not 5 days, the first days of the month typically is not the rush. The rush normally is toward the middle and end of the month. Everybody's trying to rush to get their properties closed, right? And typically what ends up happening is that if they didn't close the end of the month because they missed the rush, that's what closes in those first 5 days of the month, right? Is those that couldn't make the cutoff, and then those end up closing in the first 5 days of the month. Okay. And if you remember last week, we were still at a shortage of closings last week in Orange County, meaning we're still down as compared to last year, right? Which of course spills into your Or actually, no, it goes the other way around. Your pendants spill into your closings. But typically that's the way it goes. If they miss the cutoff, then those are the ones that are going to roll into your first few days of the month. But normally everybody's pushing to get things closed like towards the end of the month. You normally see a big spike. So we'll see if we see that in the month of May. And then pendants are down 3.2% overall as compared to last year. Okay. So we're hoping again that we start to see that the pendants are going to go up and be in the positive, which will roll into the solds being in the positive, because we clearly are seeing that we are having more inventory. Now, more inventory doesn't mean enough inventory. And you guys will see that in a minute when I show you the absorption rates. Okay, new listings are down 51.4% as compared to last month. However, holding strong at 12.5% increase over last year. So we definitely are seeing that we have some improvements in new listing inventory that was not previously available, has now become available. So 12.5%. Okay. And Orange County has some great new developments as well, right? So we need to be on the lookout for those. If you have clients that are looking for new developments, they don't necessarily have to go out to San Bernardino County and Riverside County, depending on what their budget is. Okay. New developments exist in Orange County and in LA County. Yes, they are higher though, right? All right. Average active price has gone down 5.1% as compared to last month and down 9.8% as compared to last year. So sellers in Orange County are asking 9.8% lower than they did last year. They're receiving 6.6% higher than they did last year. Okay. So they are still in a very average amount of appreciation, not asking astronomical. Yeah, they're asking 9.8% less, but they're receiving 6.6% more, which is not, again, a big jump, okay? As compared to double-digit appreciation, I mean. Of course, any increase, buyers are suffering because affordability is already an issue. So, of course, any increase, buyers are still suffering. However, you'd rather 6.6% than double-digit 10, 15% appreciation, right? So that's in normal levels, okay, of appreciation. But sellers are happy because their properties are still going up, right? All right. Months of inventory. See, these are crazy numbers, right? 172% increase over last month. We were at 1.6 months of inventory at this time, first 5 days of April. And now we're at 4.3 months of inventory, first 5 days of May. Okay. But this is the number to look at. We have increased 67.4% over last year. So we were at 1.6 months of inventory last year. We're at 2.7 months of inventory currently. You see, we're still in a severe seller's market here, guys. So in Orange County, sellers still have all the leverage. What does that mean? That means that, yes, you're going to have to cut. Your buyer more than likely has to come to the table with a full price offer and or above asking price, because they're more than likely going to be in competition because there still is an inventory shortage out there. Okay. But sellers in Orange County have started to see that based on this, that they need to be more conservative in what they're asking, because they don't want their properties to sit on the market. So they're asking for less, right? Receiving more, but asking for less. Okay. Because they realize there's more inventory on the market, even though they're still in a severe seller's market. All right. Average days on market is 17.2% lower than it was last month. Last month, it was 29 days, currently 24 days. Okay. Overall, as compared to last year, 23.1% increase. Last year, we were at 26 days on market. Currently, we're at 32 days on market. And I tell you guys all the time, right? Don't be confused. Get out there, get your buyers into properties, get them to see them first, put your offers in, because properties go fast. Even the junkers, you guys, I have a listing in Hesperia, and it is a story. but I'll save it for another day. But it is a hot mess to the point that we had to take the carpet up because there were dog feces on the floor. You couldn't walk in there. It was horrible, you guys. And actually, it's the most horrible home that I've seen. And they have people living in it. Code enforcement came and said it was uninhabitable.
Wow.
Okay, that's how bad. And this is my listing. I'm not complaining though. And so, but I said all that to say, I just got the listing. I put it on the market last week. We just showed it Saturday, you guys, and it is an investor property. I have 7 offers.
Wow.
Okay. So even the junkers go fast because they're going to go to investors, right? So don't get it twisted. Properties are still moving pretty quickly depending on the condition, the area, and your pricing strategy. Okay. So let's see. Sold versus original list price. 4.2% improvement over last month. We were at 95% of list price last month. We're at 99% of list price currently. And then a 6.1% decrease over last year. We were at 99% of list price current last year. We're at 93% of list price currently. Okay. So we definitely will have to look at that. Because there must be some anomaly in here, because if you look back at I'm not sold versus original list price, but looking back at average sold price versus average active price, right? We're actually should be doing better. So I have to look at that and see. Well, normally it's hard to dive into that number. But if you do have any questions about it and really want to dive in, we can schedule some time to do that. All right, Riverside County. Let's go into Riverside County. For sale properties is increased 3.4% over last month and 39.2% over last year. So we have some improvement in inventory for sale properties to the tune of 39.2%, which is great. Sold properties has gone down 54.5% over last year. Over last month. However, gone down only 3% over last year. Okay. So again, we are expecting improvements, not decreases. So we've got to keep our eye on this, right? But it is a small number. Hopefully it will not grow any. Okay. Because we want to see more closings in our market, not less closings, right? And then pendants are down 48.3% over last month. However, an improvement and increase of 2.1% over last year. Okay. So 2 out of our 3 major sales trends has improved in Riverside County. New listing inventory has gone down 52.8% over last month. However, improved by 10% over last year. So that's good. All right. We're looking at a 10% improvement. We expect that we will continue to see improvements. Builders are able to do things that others, a resale, are not, right? Builders can have incentives. Builders can have special financing, as we're seeing. Builders can say outright, buyers agents, I'm offering 3% or whatever they're offering, right? I'm seeing flat rates right now, and I'm seeing them offer percentages. I'm seeing them be all over the place, but even in their flat rates, they're pretty good. Because I just saw one, a Pulte home or something like that. Well, they were offering like $17,500. And their homes were in the 500,000 range. So that wasn't bad, right? That wasn't bad. It actually was good, right? They were almost 600,000. So that was actually good. So I was like, okay, I don't mind a flat rate in that case, right? All right. So we talked about new listing. Average active price is up 0.5% over last month, okay? And down 0.6% as compared to last year. So sellers on average are asking 0.6% lower than they did last year and receiving 1.9% higher. So Riverside is trending very equitably, right? They're really low on their year over year comparison as far as volatility in home prices. And even the sold prices are low, or the margin is low, right? Only almost 2% improvement over last year, although sellers are still receiving a little bit more than they would have last year. So it is still a good storyline. It's still a good story to tell your sellers that it's improved. And again, be hyper local, because in some areas, maybe it hasn't improved at all or gone down. And in some areas, it could have improved much more than the 1.9%. Okay. Months of inventory has gone up 121.3% as compared to last month. We were at 2.7 months of inventory the first 5 days. We're at 6 months of inventory the first 5 days of May. Okay. Now remember, what happens in May? What typically happens in May that's the reason why these numbers could have hopped up so much. Why do we see more listings
Because
in
it's
May?
summer.
Danila, say that again.
Maybe because it's going into summer.
Schools are out.
Absolutely. What happens in summer? Oscar, what did you say?
Schools are out.
Thank you. Schools are out, right? I don't know if
Okay.
you guys drove your neighborhoods, but I saw all the kids going to prom this weekend. One of my cousins had her champagne party and going to prom, right? And that means graduation is right on the other side of that. And in Riverside County and in San Bernardino County, some schools are even out right now, or their graduations are now. So you got people you got parents who are like, hey, we want to go ahead and get this house on the market, because we're still looking at what? Marketing time and then escrow time, right? So if I put it on now, May, let's say I'm in escrow by June, then hopefully I can close in July and get my family moved, right? So that wherever we're going to start our new lives in, we can do that over this summertime. But let's go ahead and get started, because I'm still looking at 60 days out, right? So that's where this makes sense for them. And that's why you probably see this spike. It could actually lend itself to explain a little bit of the spike that we see in May. Okay. And then 41.3% improvement or increase over last year. So we were at 2.7 months of inventory last year. We're at 3.8 months of inventory currently. Okay. So again, Riverside is really knocking on the door of the threshold of a neutral market or a normal market. Okay. Where supply and demand are pretty much in alignment. All right, average days on market has decreased 12.7%. We were at 55 days on market last month. We're at 48 days on market currently. And overall, as compared to last year, is increased 18.2%. So we were at 44 days on market last year. We're at 52 days on market currently. All right, and then sold versus original list price gone down 3.1% over last month. We were at 96% of list price last month. We're at 93% of list price currently. And then a 1% decrease over last year. So last year we were at 97% of list price. Currently sellers in Riverside County are receiving 96% of list price. Okay, so it's still high. It's still in the upper 90s. And again, we've got to do our job in helping our sellers to get even higher than that in Riverside County. All right. For sale properties in San Bernardino County. Let's move on to the next chart, last actually county of the day. So for sale properties has increased 11.1% over last month. Okay. Overall, a 33.8% improvement over last year. So that's great, right? We're seeing all over, we are seeing improvements in inventory. I know you guys are hearing it on the news, where, they're saying inventory levels are spiking, more inventory is coming on the market. We see that for the numbers, and it is absolutely true, right? However, our solds aren't keeping up with that, right? We're having more sold properties just because we have more inventory. Solds are down 50.6% as compared to last month, and down 2.5% overall. Again, we want to keep an eye on this because we're expecting more closings, not less. Pendants are down 53.4% as compared to last month, and 1.8% less than last year. Okay. So again, we want to keep an eye on these two numbers. We're hoping that we will rebound as we enter into the summer, which is really our spring and summer are our hottest months for real estate transactions. Okay. So we are hoping to rebound. That also means you guys should be talking to everybody in your sphere, that even if they, aren't ready to make a change themselves, who do they know that might be looking, that needs your help, right? Who do they know that might be looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? All right. New listings are down 54.2% as compared to last month. However, they have increased 11.1% over last year. So definitely still seeing improvements on new listing inventory in San Bernardino County. Average active price has gone up 1.5% over last month and down 2.4% over last year. So sellers are asking for 2.4% less than they did last year. However, they're receiving 5.5% more than they did last year. Okay. So again, these are very reasonable amounts of appreciation. 5.5%. Normal rates of appreciation over the years has been 4 to 7%. Okay. So 5.5% is definitely in that reasonable price range, right? Or in that reasonable range of appreciation. Okay. Months of inventory, 116.9% increase over last month. We were at 2.9 months of inventory these first 5 days of April, and now we're at 6.3 months of inventory the first 5 days of May. Okay. Overall, a 37.5% increase. We were at 3.2 months of inventory last year. We're at 4.4 months of inventory in San Bernardino County, which is why you see more reasonable amounts of appreciation, right? Because we are really into the first phases of a neutral or normal market. Okay, we are really, because we're at 4.4 months of inventory. If that number continues to climb, we will be in that normal market, and that's where we should see supply and demand level out, right? We should see more than likely not a lot of multiple offer situations and things like that. Sellers will have to price their properties right. Otherwise, buyers will go to the next property. Okay. All right. Average days on market is 4.8% improvement over last month. We were at 42 days on market last month. We're at 44 days on market this month, first 5 days of the month. Overall, 14.3% increase over last year. We were at 42 days on market last year. We're at 48 days on market currently. And then sold versus original list price, a 1% decrease over last month. We were at 98% of list price last month. We're at 97% of list price, and the same with the year over year comparison. Last year, we're at 98% of list price. Currently, we're at 97% of list price, so a 1% decrease. So you guys, it is a good market in San Bernardino County. You're going to probably see reasonable prices. The builders are going to be probably a little bit more aggressive with their incentives to entice buyers to come and buy. So yeah, San Bernardino County from their numbers looks really good. Any questions about the numbers? We good?
No, none for me. Yes.
All right, good deal. Upcoming events. Today, you guys, is Cinco de Mayo. We've got our potluck today. So that starts at 1 o'clock. We have our group coaching today at 12 o'clock. I am going to be teaching that session, and I'm going to be going over the residential purchase agreement. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about the RPA from being the buyer's agent perspective and how to best fill that out. And things that we can negotiate on and talk with our clients about in order to make their offers stand out. Okay. All right. And then we've got our potluck. If you signed up to bring something, please be on time. It's 1 o'clock. So maybe be here at like 12:45 so we can get everything set up. We're excited to have you guys. It's going to be a good time. You know how we do. All right. Then we've got Conversations in Real Play on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. This Tuesday at 9 a.m. with Diana. And then on Thursday, oh no, we're not going to have it on Thursday because that's Red Day. Okay. So it's just this Tuesday at 9 a.m. All right, and then Q&A with Ed tomorrow at 11. So be here, ask Ed all your questions tomorrow at 11 a.m. We've got Red Day on Thursday. If you did not already sign up and you still want to participate, please let us know ASAP. And then shirts should be here. If you ordered a shirt, it should be here by Wednesday. So drop by to pick up your shirt. We are going to be building a play set for Amelia. We still need your donations. So maybe you can't participate. We still need your donations, okay? Because we've got to raise $2,500. I think we're currently at about $1,500, maybe a little bit more than that. So we definitely need all the donations, okay? All the donations. Let's see. Pavin's class, you guys, I know you're excited about this. I wish I had like sound effects. So like, so Pavin's class is starting May 6th, tomorrow. All right, tomorrow, 1 to 2:30. This is multi-unit investment properties. He's going to be teaching you about analyzing those, the market analysis, the financial analysis, and then how to pitch that to an investor. Multi-unit properties. I want to be in this one. If I have appointments, I'm going to be watching the recording because this is really important. You've got to be able to service your clients. And this isn't talking about commercial. We're talking about 3-4 units, right? It's not just 5 units, 6 units. We're talking about, just being able to do this for your regular investor who wants to buy multi-units, but it's multi-unit residential. Okay. And then we've got broker hour Wednesdays at 10 a.m. I've got to verify that Ed will be on Thursday because the only reason why is because obviously we've got Red Day on Thursday. So I'm not sure if he's participating in another Red Day. So we'll verify that and let you guys know. Be on the lookout for your emails and text messages. We notify you guys all different ways. So just be looking at that so you'll know what class is offered. I'm sorry. Then we've got our tech workshop with Martha. And you guys know she is fire. And that is 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Okay. And then we've got Realtor Appreciation Day, May 8th. Most of us won't be able to participate in that. Tacos at the park. You got to be a DAR member. We've got Volunteer Week, which is May 10th through the 18th. We may participate and do something here with the Volunteer Day week. But we do ours on May 8th, right? And so we're definitely going to put our pictures in, even though it is on May 8th. We've got Content Day. It's the third Thursday of the month with DAOR. And pretty much it's where you guys can go to the active listings that are in our area or agents that want to showcase their listings, almost like a broker tour, but you can video, and that's what they're doing. And then we've got cornhole. This is fun. Shelly and Martha have gone and they love it. And it's May 29th from 11:30 to 1:30. Barbecue ribs, games, and it's $20 for the barbecue plate. They're going to play bingo. And then you got to have cornhole teams. So we might put together a team. So if you are interested, let the front desk know so that we can build some teams. That'll be fun, but it's $20. We do have still Ignite. So if you are interested, you guys know the slides, the video, everything is uploaded to the hub. So you guys can catch this slide. If you want to scan the QR code, participate in Ignite, you absolutely can do that. I hear that the instructors are really good and it's in the evening. So those of you who are dual career and you can't be here during the day, this is perfect. We did start our KW Downey Summer Weight Loss Competition. So we weighed in last week. You can still weigh in. You just have less time, but you can still weigh in. It started last week. It ends June 30th. So for those of you that want to participate, it's $40. Winner takes the pot. Okay. And we are doing it based on percentage of weight lost, not pounds, because it's, you guys, some of you know, it's unfair for somebody like Montserrat to be going against even me because I'm bigger. So I have more weight to lose and I'll lose it faster than she will. So it's really percentage of weight loss. But that's the fair way to do it. I chat GPT'd it. LOL. LOL. Let's see. Now I'm gonna go put me back on the other side. Oh, there we go. That's perfect. All right. So, Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast, the 5 pillars of real estate resilience. This is a good one, no matter how long you've been in real estate. This is a good class. Make sure that you pay attention. All right. Or make sure that you listen in, not pay attention, listen in. All right. And then the One Thing podcast. I didn't actually get the, it's the same one, How to Build Real Resilience with Dr. Robin Hanley. So listen in. You guys are talking about this because we do suffer from burnout. Okay. Our industry specifically suffers from a lot of burnout. So if you want to be able to start your career and already know how to avoid that, these are good things to listen to and to start implementing into your business. Even for those of us who are in this business, these are great things for us to implement. All right, industry news. Back to where it was. Industry news. This is the mortgage rates tick down, but will the drop entice buyers? Dun, dun, dun. So bottom line is we've got this rise of inventory. Last month, we actually had an uptick in interest rates. We're starting to see a little bit of a downtick in interest rates, but we still have affordability issues. We still have some uncertainty in the economy and what's going on. So there is a lot of factors that are creating just a lot of uncertainty on the buyer side, which is why we're not seeing more closed sales, right? Because they're sitting back and trying to figure out what all this means and how it's all going to impact them. And in the event or in the case where they have so much information coming at them and so much negativity coming at them, they're going to sit back and wait because this is the largest purchase of their lives. So what are they supposed to do, right? Until they have somebody like you who is going to give them information to help them make an informed decision, right? If they've got a good job and it's stable and their rent is high, right? They're paying a mortgage anyway. Stop giving your money away. That is a given. You've always got to have a place to live. People aren't going to be, I'm talking about normalcy, normal situation. People aren't going to be homeless. They're going to pay their mortgage first. So don't be homeless, right? Or don't be giving your money away. So the 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged 6.76. That was last week, right? The second week of declining. All right. And they said that Pendant Homes showed some positive signs, and we even saw some positive signs in LA County, but Orange County closed sales was lagging. Riverside and in San Bernardino County closed sales were lagging as well, but not by much, but still lagging. And then they said that experts are saying that the recent increase in inventory is a sign that the housing market is still rebalancing, that we still are trying to rebalance and get to that normal market. And it appears that we are. However, it is not helping what is going on with these other factors that are causing all of the uncertainty. But there's what I'm going to tell you guys is buyers buy. There's always an excuse for a buyer who is squirrely. I don't have another word. Uncertain. I keep using that word. Or nervous and all of that to not buy, right? There's always an excuse, always. So we have got to help our buyers to get off that fence that they've been straddling and jump in and purchase a home. It is what's best for them. It is building generational wealth. It is helping them to stave off inflation, right? Because rents increase almost every year if they're, in a well-maintained apartment complex or things like that. They get rental increases every year. So we got to be there to help them with their decision making. Sellers are out of sync with buyers on pricing. Now we're not seeing that sellers are so out of sync, right? We're seeing that the average sales price has gone down, the average asking price has gone down and the average sales price has gone up in most cases. But what they're saying is that that because we've experienced such rapid appreciation over the years, that some sellers are still got their pie in the sky mentality and they're pricing their properties really high, and buyers are not biting because they have more choices now. They're not biting and they're saying, nope, I'm just going to wait. So what I brought this article in to tell you guys is it's very important how we help our sellers price their properties, because we could absolutely get our sellers into a position where they've got their property way up there in terms of the asking price, and it just sits there. And what will end up happening is that you're going to end up having to decrease it even more than you would have needed to decrease it if you were more conservative in how you price the property. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So, what questions do we have? Any questions?
No.
We good? Oh,
Yes.
B, if you guys are going to participate in Red Day, if you said that you're going to participate in Red Day, we are going to have a call. Shelly, I'm going to be getting with you this morning, Shell, so that we could try to figure out what time is good for you tomorrow, so that we can have kind of an all hands Zoom meeting for those who are going to participate, so we could kind of lay out the schedule. All right. Because we're meeting at the property at 10 a.m. Not only those who are participating, not the organizers. The organizers have to be there at 9. Okay. All right. Thank you, Shelley. All right, guys. You guys have a beautiful day. I hope to see you today at the group coaching and at our Cinco de Mayo celebration. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.